It is Monday, the 12th of February 2024, and you are watching or listening to the GamesIndustry.biz Microcast. I am James Batchelor, Editor-in-Chief of GamesIndustry.biz, and joining me as always this week is Head of GamesIndustry.biz, Chris Dring. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Busy, exciting week for the games industry. It's going to be
a very busy week, if only for one particular announcement. Now, we're going to kind of touch on this. We're not going to speculate too much because that will date this episode really, really badly. But we're going to acknowledge there has been continued conversation around Xbox. We've already talked about on the previous podcast the rumours that certain key first-party titles are coming to other consoles, like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Starfield. There's been rumours around the fact that I believe there was a rumour going around the layoffs that Microsoft has closed its entire publishing department, so there's rumours that they're going to pull out physical media. There's rumours that they're going to drop consoles and essentially do a Sega, as it's called, 20 years later, and just leave the hardware game completely and just become a multi-platform. There's so many rumours going on. The speculation got to the point where Phil Spencer actually replied. He did a tweet along the lines of, "We've heard you, we are listening, we are going to be preparing a big business update next week," so this week coming, which will show our vision for the future of Xbox. And I think the words there, our vision for the future of Xbox, have got people excited that it's going to be a big deal. I mean, it could just be...
It is a business update. I think he just called it a business update, right? He's not sitting there going, we're going to do a direct. Or
no, exactly.
It's a business update.
But the fact that he used the words "our vision for the future of Xbox," like, I think has got some people, the rumours have escalated to this point. Like,
it confirms there's something, right?
Yeah, it confirms there's something. But for all we know, it could be like, hey, the Xbox Game Pass app is now coming to a different brand of smart TV.
Yeah, I mean, he's not responding to the rumours by saying we're going to tell you next week, and there not be some truth in the rumours. Although I from what I've heard, right, it's Microsoft's, and this is a lot of industry chatter. There's so much industry chatter going on. I had never heard the Starfield thing. I heard that it possibly one day, but I didn't hear the Indiana Jones thing. I haven't heard the God of War thing, Gears of War thing. What I'd heard was that there was a few of their smaller games, like Hi-Fi Rush is the one that people seem to think is almost confirmed. Yeah. Pentiment, games like that might be coming to other platforms, which makes sense. They did it with Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisp. That's on Switch. And I heard that maybe some of their live service games, Sea of Thieves, which again makes sense in a way. Destiny's on every platform. That's a PlayStation game now, and it's that kind of thing, and that sort of not surprising. And of course, it might be the beginning of a change, but I don't expect it. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this week we hear Microsoft confirm a commitment to hardware and the fact they're going to release more consoles, rather than what some people think is the opposite.
We've sort of heard that so far. So journalist Shannon Liao, who is absolutely brilliant journalist, she reported that Phil Spencer sent an internal memo to all staff on Tuesday last week, confirming that the company is indeed considering bringing first-party games to multiple kinds of devices. More is going to be revealed this week. But crucially, they said, her sources said that employees were told there were no plans to stop making consoles, and that Xboxes will continue to be a part of a strategy that involves multiple kinds of devices. So, yeah, they're pulling out hardware. I don't expect. I
think people have got a bit excited. I mean, it is interesting, and look, Microsoft's view is so much broader now. It's got Call of Duty and everything. Like, it's got such a bigger vision of the games industry than their little box. But and I think that's cool. But I think for all the fans out there that are losing their minds over the idea that all their games are coming to PlayStation, I don't believe that's happening at all. And the opinion piece I did last week sort of says that. I used the word "some games" quite a few times. That's what I believe. We'll find out in a couple of days. So if you're watching this after the announcement, then feel free to tweet me. You're wrong. But they
do that anyway. Why would you invite that? They do that to you anyway. Your Twitter mentions are a mess.
Yeah, they do that anyway. Even when I'm right, which I find quite annoying.
I think we're going to find out soon. I think the most extreme this would go, and even then I'm not convinced it would go this extreme, is the most extreme it would go would be maybe they kind of... there was that leaked mid-gen refresh last year, which was like the cylindrical top hat Xbox with no disc drive.
Digital-only Xbox X.
Yeah, the digital-only Xbox X. I could believe them going digital-only with their consoles, and that all future consoles digital-only, because digital really has taken over. It's the dominant form that most people buy their games in. The thing that you were talking about that got blown slightly out of proportion. The idea that not many retailers are stocking physical Xbox games, according to what you have heard. Like, I can see them going that way, but even then, that would be a stretch. Like, I think that's the furthest they would go with this.
Yeah, I would expect a commitment to hardware. Look, we'll see. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's not promise the podcast with speculation about a new story that's going to break.
Having promised to not speculate, we'll stop speculating there. Bigger deal that is absolutely happening. Blimey, how many adjectives do you need there? Disney and Epic. So the Walt Disney Company last week announced it's investing $1.5 billion to acquire an equity stake in Epic Games. It's announced plans for a major collaboration with Fortnite. More on that in a second. We kind of checked with Epic that, because so many companies have put $1 billion or more into Epic over the last few years. Sony's done it, Disney's done it. There was one more that I've completely forgotten, and I apologise to that company. But it's like, well, what's this done for Tim Sweeney's control? It's like, no, Tim Sweeney is still the controlling shareholder of Epic. That's been confirmed to us. Will continue to maintain control of the board following the close of this particular transaction. I've seen rumours that, kind of insider reports, that because there's all these big investments, the valuation of Epic has come down slightly to, I think it was like 22 billion or million was the figure I saw earlier. But the point is, like, for all the money they're receiving, like, Tim Sweeney is still in control. It is still Epic. It is not Epic owned by a ton of shareholders. The project that they're going to be working on, Disney and Epic describe the project as an open, persistent social universe. It's going to be a games experience. It's going to also offer the fans ability to watch, shop, and engage with content, characters, and stories from across Disney's portfolio, including Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and the Avatar brands. The teaser was basically like a Fortnite theme park. It's Disney World in for Fortnite, essentially, is what it looked like. Which kind of brought to mind, completely random, brought me around. Do you remember the game Pixar Rush? It was a Kinect game, and then they re-released it, and it's basically like a park with some statues from Pixar films, and then each one triggers a different level that you play. My son's obsessed with it. It's fine. But yeah, just interactive theme parky social space sounds like what they're building. Big deal. Really big deal. Really interesting kind of change. Really big shift for Disney to get involved with. I mean, Disney have already been doing quite a lot with Fortnite anyway. The number of like Marvel and Star Wars characters that have been turning up in Fortnite. I don't think any Disney. I don't think you can slaughter people as Donald Duck yet. But yeah, so it kind of builds on what they've worked on before. I mean, I'm interested to see what this becomes. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of Fortnite. I suck at Fortnite. The two facts are not entirely unrelated. But
this isn't Fortnite.
Exactly.
This is the reason interestingly, I'm really grateful for Epic to making my predictions seem true. I did a piece, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember now, where I put the 7 reasons to be hopeful about the future of the games industry, and one of the things I picked was Unreal Engine for Fortnite, and sorry, I'm an editor for Fortnite. I keep calling it that. Which is this idea that game developers have made, people making games in Fortnite. A lot of people compare it to Roblox, but actually, I think what's interesting, this is more. At the moment, it's primarily targeting sort of bigger devs and things like that. So, what interests me is so we saw the Lego thing before Christmas, and we saw the Harmonix make Fortnite Festival and that kind of stuff. And I think this is a great opportunity for developers. This is an extension of that. It's a lot of first party stuff. It's a lot of like this is the Marios. This is the big signings that Epic's done. If you view Fortnite as a games console now and not as a game, it's with a game console with 100 million install base, and you're going right. Well, more than that. The install base is bigger, but the actual 100 million active players, and you've got it's a great opportunity for Lego. It's a great opportunity for Disney. What I will say is, unlike a console, I keep calling it a console. It's not, because when people buy a Switch or a PlayStation 5, right, they're buying it to buy a load of games or play a load of games. When people log into Fortnite, they're logging in to play Fortnite. So then they're not necessarily that, I'm going to play this Fortnite festival thing. But I think this is really exciting. When a big company like this throws such big money behind an idea, whether it pans out as big as it could do, we'll see. I'm actually optimistic about it, but we'll see. But I think it's a great opportunity for developers, particularly in this market right now, looking for opportunities, looking for ways of perhaps generating a bit of extra revenue, making games in Fortnite. You make a game using Unreal Editor for Fortnite, right? You may use their tools. It's not everything's in there yet, but most of it is. You see what they're putting out with the Lego game, and you press publish, and it's on PC, it's on mobile, it's on console. Like, it's everywhere. It's really. I'm genuinely. I sound like an Epic fanboy here, and I'm not. I don't even play Fortnite, right? But I genuinely think it's a really cool thing, and I think it's quite interesting. And also, the age group's a little bit older. So if you look at Roblox, obviously, it's kids, it's under 16s, whereas Fortnite is mostly over 16s, and that is, for terms of monetization, it's a lot easier to do, a lot less. You don't have to be quite so restrained in terms of what you're doing there. So there is that. There is more financial upside, I think, potentially. And this is all part of that. And Disney, it's what's a massive deal. Disney to back it in this way with these big IP, and obviously Epic's relationship with Disney goes beyond just this. Like, Unreal Engine makes the Star Wars stuff, right? It's the Ds and everything. So it makes sense why they would invest so heavily in it. Just as it makes sense why Sony's also a major investor in Epic now. But it's I always thought big deal, exciting. Also, isn't it lovely to be talking about someone spending money on something?
Oh yeah, massively, and a lot of money as well. Yeah, it's brilliant to kind of talk about like kind of the large investment side of things. It still amazes me how big Fortnite has grown as a platform, or as a console, kind of sort of console, as you put it. Like, you think like the name, literally the name. It originally started as a game where you build a fort during the day and fight zombies during night. That is it. That's what the game was. And then the Battle Royale became huge. The collaborations with brands became huge. Then they created the social spaces, and those became like quite well received. They've done the music concerts inside. I mean, canonically, it's part of the Star Wars universe because the Emperor Palpatine message in the episode 9 came in Fortnite. Like, it's ridiculous, like how big it's grown. It's really impressive. I'm intrigued to see if this sort of thing can grow Fortnite larger, because as you say, like the majority of people logging in to play Fortnite aren't logging in to play Fortnite Festival or Rocket Racing or whatever. They're logging in to play Fortnite, and that's fine. But I'm intrigued to see if this deal in particular, Lego Fortnite, was a great deal, but again, very kind of gamey sort of concept. That sort of thing that would already appeal to people who are already playing Fortnite, or perhaps lapsed Fortnite players who want to go and try something different.
Or lapsed Minecraft
players. This feels like something completely different, and like a very kind of... I think purely, I'm just going by the kind of the big theme park style key art. This feels like it's going to be a lot more social, a lot more casual, a lot more kind of hangout. And I've already seen the word metaverse.
Well, it is, that's what this is, right? Yeah. I mean, we mock metaverse because I think the reason why we mock metaverse, and I do as well, is because you had all these big companies with no experience who've never made anything before, or have made stuff before, but they formed a new team who went over to a load of big investors going, we're going to build a metaverse, it's exactly what you want, and here's the pitch, and here's some lovely diagrams. And those investors gave them loads of money, and then they went around sniggering going, can't believe we got away with that, right? And it's and then they've got to try and build a massive game that's going to bring in hundreds of millions of players.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe one will break through, but I really doubt it. I think it's such a hard thing to do. Metaverse already existed. It's Fortnite. It is Roblox. It is these games are universes that people live in and inhabit. And so the idea of the metaverse vision of Fortnite, it is. The word for me just conjures images.
I think that's the thing. Like the word was very much being positioned as a brand new thing, and I think we view it as. Certainly, I view it like the word metaverse is basically a new label for what we already have, i.e., social 3D spaces within games or game-like experiences.
It's an evolution of live service games. It's a recognition of, I play Sea of Thieves a lot. Well, I did. I don't play it as much as I used to because I'm a bit busy these days. But when I used to play it a lot of the time we're just hanging out in the pub and playing music and just talking to each other, right? And that's not what the game was. The game enabled that, and then sort of leaning into that as well as acknowledging people don't always play the game to play the game. I don't believe in that metaverse is a trend that everyone's going to have a metaverse, but I do believe in. I don't believe necessarily. I do believe in a game like Fortnite being able to do that kind of thing, and I'm. We'll see how it goes, but I just love the fact that it's going for it in a market where, and they're attracting big names to support it in a market where things are a little bit tight and people are unsure where growth is going to come from, where the opportunities are. This is an opportunity, and this is potentially some growth. So I'm excited.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm optimistic. This will actually convince me to download Fortnite again and just to try it out and see what it is.
So you can shop for some Disney stuff.
Absolutely, yes.
Capitalism.
I can't afford to take the kids to Disneyland, but I can take them to this one instead. It's fine. Going back to what you were saying about, like, it's really good to be talking about people investing in things. Like, we have seen a number of, like, smaller investment stories. We've seen a couple of new studios pop up. We've seen a couple of like small acquisition stories. Like, there is money moving about the market now. Kind of tangentially from that, we've seen a lot of financials, obviously, in the last week or two. It's, the Q4 results, calendar Q4 results are coming through. It's Q3 for some people, Q2 for some people. I think it's even Q1 for one company, but I can't remember which one. And those are also looking quite positive. I mean, as you would hope from Christmas. I mean, at the risk of bombarding you with numbers, I know you love numbers, Chris, but I'm not sure about the viewers or listeners. Nintendo sales are up 8% to $9.4 billion. Profit up 18% to $2.7 billion. I believe that's for the 9 months rather than just Q4. They've increased their full year forecasts only slightly, but they think they can sell slightly more Switches than they were expecting to this year. Sega, their sales were up 29% to $2.3 billion. The entertainment content, that was partly Pachinko and the Pasha slot into the business has grown particularly well this year. But the entertainment contents segment, which has video games, that's still up 4.2% to $1.4 billion. That's partly because they acquired Rovio, so obviously there's a massive influx of new revenue there. Take-Two revenues are down 3%. Net loss is down to net loss is now $91.6 million, but that's better than the $153 million they lost the same period for previous year.
NBA didn't do it for them, did they?
NBA didn't do it for them,
yeah.
but they still beat their guidance. So even if the numbers are down, they still bid better than they expected. Yeah. Ubisoft. The revenue's down 4.1% to 1.4 billion euros. Net bookings are up though 1.6% to 1.5 billion, and they actually think they've got a really solid Q4 of their fiscal year. So from now January to end of March, with Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, Skull and Bones, and I believe a couple of others, they are actually expecting record full year for bookings. Krafton saw a boost, Nexon saw a boost. Like, there's been a lot of companies that have just done really well, which is good to see. And not many, as far as I can see. Usually this is the time of year where Activision, I can't remember if we've had Activision's results yet. No, we haven't, because they're blended into Microsoft. Usually this is the time of year where Activision go, hey, record results, we're laying off 900 people.
That did happen.
That did
happen.
And then
so we that
it was just buried within the Microsoft stuff.
We just put a different name of the company.
But overall, promising stuff.
Yeah, it's. I think here's the thing: the industry, a lot of these companies have gone through the layoffs. Like Ubisoft were one of the first to go. We need to realign and change, right? And I'm not saying there's not more layoffs and stuff or challenges to come for those companies. But I wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago about 2 years of pain for the games industry. I don't mean 2 years of pain for everybody. There will be companies that have gone through the pain and will be coming out the other side, even soon, right? Even now. Whereas there'll be some companies that haven't been hit by it yet, and that's why I mean by the 2 years of pain. I don't mean it's 2 years. And so there will be companies, particularly the bigger ones, who've already made those cuts, have already made those moves. They tend to be the ones that react fastest to things, they are. I mean, that's not true. Loads of different. It depends, but they tend to be very at least wise to what's going on in the market, and so these companies, these results are a little bit more realistic. It's nice to see that games like Assassin's Creed Mirage, do all right. And Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. I know they aren't big numbers, but I think Ubisoft were realistic in terms of what they thought those were going to do, and I think that's quite reassuring. I was really impressed with Nintendo's results. The best thing about that is there's another trend in the games industry. Again, it was in my Reasons to Be Hopeful article, where I talked about the expansion of video games through TV and movies in a more substantial way than we've ever seen before. Now, obviously, there was a massive hit last year in the Mario movie. Barbie, the only thing bigger than it. Absolute mega hit. And then you see Mario Wonder did nearly 12 million units. I mean, I know it shipped, but that game did around 4.5 million, whatever, in the first couple of weeks, and it's just kept selling and selling. It's still in the top 5. It's still doing the big numbers. Mario Kart went past 60 million. And then you've got the Mario RPG, even Mario RPG, which I think did over 3 million units. Like, that's more than the original sold, right? And it's a genuine. But that's the Mario IP, right? Mario IP has never been stronger, and it's partly because of that movie, and it feels like that's paying off. Nintendo. And the last time Nintendo had a big boost in Mario was when they did Mario Run. And in Mario Run, obviously, people view it as a bit of a failure because it didn't make a lot of money, but a lot of people downloaded that game, right? And it brought Mario into, just made a big moment for Mario, and then Mario Odyssey sort of benefit from it. So I really love this sort of ecosystem strategy that we're seeing from Nintendo play out. Obviously, we're now waiting for Switch 2, which I understand is going to be announced next month, and that is that'll be very. It's not. I don't know if it's going to be called Switch 2, but that's obviously going to be quite exciting, I think. And I saw a lot of speculation online about an analyst. Did analysts say it wasn't going to do as well as Switch 1? And I'm like, well, I mean, Switch 1 is one of the most successful games. Well, if it isn't the biggest games console of all time, when it finishes, it will be very close to have been the very biggest games device of all time.
It's already top 3. It's already top 3. It's only beaten by the DS and the PS2.
And it's within touching distance.
Of
those two at the top as well. What I would. But I don't think that's kind of doesn't. Nintendo keeps saying this, like, one of the reasons why Switch has done so well is that multiple people in the household own them. So what you'll find is people only buy one copy of Mario Kart to go across 3 people, right? You don't need. I mean, I know Animal Crossing's the exception, but you don't necessarily need multiple versions of the same game, and that's why I think they're in. But I just think that's where Nintendo's opportunity is in these brand developments, in growing the games. This might be in third party as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity in that. There's obviously a lot more money to be made, if not necessarily a bigger audience to be reached. That's not to say there isn't a bigger audience to be reached, because new markets are opening up all the time. But I'm really excited. I think Nintendo's results are great. They're a company that's hiring. They're a company that's investing. They're about to launch a new platform. They're like the exception to this year, and I'm excited to see Switch 2. I've heard a little bit about it. It's apparently I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's going to do some cool things, and might allow for certain ports or remasters of games that perhaps weren't possible on the Switch 1. So I'm interested. I'm excited about that. It's a bit of an exciting time, I feel, actually. Amidst all the misery of January, February has a little bit more excitement. I know Xbox fans might disagree, but I think there's some stuff happening that we can point to say, look, this industry's got some exciting times ahead. It's not just misery.
Certainly, the doom and gloom of January seems to be lifting. Like, February so far, granted we're only halfway through, but February so far hasn't been as horrific in terms of like layoffs and studio closures. There have been layoffs and studio closures still, but for every layoff and studio closure, there's still been some, like, as we were saying, like investment stories, acquisitions, like big deals, like the Disney thing. Like, there's money still coming in.
What I want to see is recruitment come back,
Yes.
not just because of GI's recruitment revenues, but because there are a lot of people who've been laid off, and there isn't a job to go to, and it's quite scary, really. If you love your games industry, you love working in this business, and you think if you get laid off now, there's no job out there for you to go to, or if there is, there's going to be 150 people going for the same role, or 1,000 people going for the same role. It's pretty intimidating. Particularly, there's no investment out there either, so you can just, I say people can't just launch their own thing anyway, but even if you're in a position to do that, it's not easy at the minute. So I want to see a little bit of that.
I think we will get some launches from this. Like, there'll be enough people out there who have a good enough track record, who perhaps do manage to find a way to get funding. I think generally companies tend to be in stealth for like a year or two. So I wonder if, like, in 2025, 2026, we'll start seeing like a wave of new studios, groups of people that were laid off together, perhaps banding together. I don't know. Starting a new business is so risky. It's really, really difficult to do.
You need to have some. But you need to get invested unless you have the money yourself, which is obviously most people have. If you're trying to go to an investor to give you money, you need to show lots of things. You need to show the entrepreneurial as well. Before you could be, hey, I used to make Call of Duty, and I'm going to make a game that's really cool, and I've got some cool people behind me. An investor, like 2 years, investor go, there you go, which is probably a little irresponsible. Whereas now it's like you need to show your entrepreneur, you've got plans and you've got thoughts and you've got and you need to and that money's hard to come by. And when the interest rates are 5%, they're going to go, should I invest in this business that may or may not, probably might not work, or can I just stick it in the bank and make 5% on my earnings? And But it's definitely tricky. It's not impossible though. There is money out there, and there are people investing in stuff, and it is happening. It's just it's very, very tough at this moment. And when that starts to spark up a little bit more, and people start hiring again, then I'll start being a little more optimistic, I think. But it does. Last couple of weeks have been a little bit more fun on GI.
And on that fun note, I think I'm going to wrap us up there. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Thank you so much for joining me as always. We say this almost every week, but it is genuinely best way to start the week. Love it, absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You can get more news, insight, and analysis at GamesIndustry.biz. You can find previous episodes of the podcast and the Microcast on the podcasting platform of your choice. And if you're not watching us already, we are on the GamesIndustry.biz YouTube channel. We're going to be back next Monday. Until then, we hope you have a great week, and time to go and speculate even more about that Xbox deal.